Guys are doing well. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, I'm going to talk about this really interesting thing that's happening in Atlanta. Apparently, Fani Willis, who is in charge of the whole prosecution of Donald Trump, has some problems of her own. It's some stuff that involves sleeping with a guy that she apparently, allegedly hired by the name of Nathan Wade, who is now toting a gun because he's dealing with reporters and paparazzi and everything else. And this is a conversation about financial lovemaking. Apparently, there's also conversations about money being exchanged inappropriately, things like that. I'm not going to make any assumptions about guilt or innocence. I'm just going to give you the facts and let you guys know from a financial lovemaking standpoint what I'm seeing here. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt. Let me know if you can hear me. Give me a yes if you can hear me. We're going to get started on drboycetv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm, great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to co-sign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. And do me a favor as we get started, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. Also want to remind you this podcast is on Spotify and also Apple. So if you go look for my name on Spotify and Apple, you can find me there. And let's jump right into it. And I want to say hello to William and Just Blaze in Rio. I see you. Good to see you out of Cincinnati. Nice. I'm speaking to Cincinnati soon. I'll keep you posted when that happens. All right. So let's just here's the topic I want to discuss. And it has to do with this crazy love triangle that's happening right now that involves this prosecution against Donald Trump. Apparently, as you guys know, in Atlanta, Trump is he's facing, I want to say 41 different counts on election interference, violation of RICO laws, things like that. And we know that Atlanta's serious about RICO laws. And you know what? I have nothing to say about whether or not Trump is guilty or innocent. I think it depends on what side of the spectrum you're on. The Democrats think he's as guilty as sin. The Republicans think that he's innocent. I'm not here to really discuss and debate the politics of it. You can believe whatever you want to believe. But the part that really, really, really got my attention is that there is this crazy love triangle going on, apparently, where Fani Willis allegedly had this guy she was working with, an attorney by the name of Nathan Wade, that she was sleeping with, apparently, that is on her staff. Again, this is all according to the reports. This is stuff that's coming out in the New York Post and stuff like that. And in addition to that, it's being reported that this was not revealed to anybody, that he received a bunch of money from the job. He was appointed as a special prosecutor on the Trump case, and he made a lot of money. And then, of course, you know how the right wing is going to do it. They spiced it up into, money being spent on lavish vacations and stuff like that. And just a whole messy relationship kind of thing. And so what? Why am I talking about this? Well, I don't really care who you're sleeping with, okay? I want to make that clear. Give me a yes if you understand that I'm not here to get into the gossip and the salaciousness of who's doing who. I'm assuming that everybody out here, if you're watching, if you're lucky, you're doing somebody. So good luck. Y'all know who I'm doing, and I think she's the most gorgeous woman in the world. So there's nothing wrong. We're not here to condemn somebody for engaging in the act of sex. What I am here to talk about is some of the interesting implications of this case in terms of a couple of angles. Number one, there is the political angle. You know, the Republicans are running with this. The right wing is literally saying that this case undermines this secret situation where allegedly Fani Willis is sleeping with this prosecutor that works for her while he was married, by the way. He was going through a divorce or something. So all this apparently, I guess, came out during the divorce. And the woman on the side by herself, that's the the wife, who's I don't know if she's surprised by this or not. Again, I don't get into people's personal lives, but there's the political implication where, of course, the Trumpian team, they're running with this as, okay, this invalidates the case. This invalidates the Fani Willis. This completely undermines the credibility of this court. The second part of this that's interesting is, in case you guys don't know, I wrote a book years ago called Financial Lovemaking. And in that book, I talked extensively about times where love and money need to be mixed and times where the mixture can be dangerous. There are times where money and love can create a sweet combination. And then there are times where it creates a scenario that's very dangerous, very tragic. And one of the areas where love and money don't mix so well is in the work environment. When I got my job at Syracuse University, and I was this super cool young college professor making $115,000 a year, my father came to me and he gave me the very wise message that consisted of a very simple statement. He said this. He said, "Don't you fuck nothing on that campus." That's what he said. Forgive me for profanity, but my daddy cusses, and I gotta quote him accurately. He said, "Don't you fuck nothing on that campus." Now, the reason he told me that, and I didn't understand it, to be honest with you, at that time, I was like, okay, I mean, it wasn't like I was sitting around hoping and waiting to get a chance to go and sleep with somebody I work with. And I definitely wasn't thinking about sleeping with no students, but he said it with a level of seriousness that was reflective of his extensive experience dealing with various kinds of office bureaucracies, politics, etc. And so in hindsight, 20 years later, when I look back at what my father said to me, I understand now. What I understand is that he was protecting me from something. He was protecting me. First off, he was protecting me from myself, so I didn't end up in a dumb situation. But he was also protecting me from politics. When you get into situations where you're mixing and mingling with people you work with, and you work in a corporate setting or you work in a government setting, it's very easy to have everything destroyed and ruined as a result of that decision. And it's a crazy decision because, love is very natural. The attraction between human beings is very natural. Human beings are supposed to mate. They're supposed to get together. They're supposed to do the wild thing. They're supposed to procreate. But somebody made that into a bad thing, like it was almost a crime. So as a result of this, when you get caught up, you get really caught up. And so right now, Fani Willis, again, I don't even agree with the politics of it. I think it's absolutely inappropriate to go prosecuting your political enemies. I think you're setting a very bad precedent for this country. I think right after they get finished dealing with Donald Trump, the Republicans are going to come right after Joe Biden, and any Democrat that steps in and tries to do something for the country, they're going to start prosecuting him. You know why? Because all these prosecutors got dirt. All these politicians got dirt on them. All of them do. Obama's got dirt on him. Trump's got dirt on him. Biden's got dirt on him. Fanny's got dirt on him. So right now, Fani, by sleeping with this guy, this Nathan Wade guy, which there's nothing wrong with two people sleeping together. Now this whole Trump case is in jeopardy. Now in their mind, they're like, okay, she's just a unqualified black woman who can't control her sexual urges, and this is going to make the case very messy. And so one of the things that you have to do is, generally speaking, just as practical knowledge and information, I will let you know that if you decide to sleep with a person that you're working with, just know you're taking a massive risk. If you decide to sleep with a person that you're working with, just know you better make sure they love you. They not just love you, not just want you, not just are attracted to you, but not even just love you. You better make sure they care about you. Because somebody can love you and not care about you. Those are two different things. Like I can love my car, but I don't care about my car. If I crash my car, I just get another one. I don't care about it that much. I love this cup of coffee, but I don't care about this cup of coffee. I don't care. I can throw it in the sink and make a new cup. So you better make sure that if you do decide to take that chance, I just want you to understand this. If you mix love and money, let me know if you follow what I'm saying. If you mix love and money in that sort of way, where you sleeping with somebody, where you also mixing and mingling your professional accomplishments with that person, you better make sure that they love you and that they care about you and that the risk is worth it. Because if it goes bad, it goes very bad. If it gets messy, you're losing everything. Fani Willis is a woman who went to Howard University. She graduated at the top of her class. She went on to Emory Law School, if I'm not mistaken, a damn good law school. She's busted her butt to become super highly qualified to be at the top of her profession. And now she's involved in arguably one of the most important court cases in the history of the United States. And all that is in jeopardy now because she wanted some penis. Like that's kind of how it looks. That's what people are thinking. They're like, you really had to go get some from the guy that you working with. You had to go hire this guy to work with you, and y'all sleeping together. Didn't Biggie tell you don't shit where you eat, or never sell no crack where you rest at? Right? Remember that? Like you got to kind of separate things. Now again, I'm not saying she's stupid, because the reason I'm not saying that at all is because that's the thing about love and relationships. Love and relationships are not rational. They're not logical. You're not always, most of y'all, how many of y'all have ever done something stupid in a relationship? Raise your hand. How many of you have ever done something where you're like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but, or I shouldn't be sleeping with this person, but I just can't help it. Has anybody ever done? Give me a guess. Let's just confess. Let's confess. I want to do the confession so we can make it clear. I'm not ridiculing this woman at all. I don't care. I don't know her, but I'm not here to attack or gossip or dog out anybody. That's not the goal here. Give me a yes if you have done something in a relationship where you look back and say, what was I thinking? What was I thinking? What was I thinking? Well, you know what? I read when I wrote my book, Financial Lovemaking, which, by the way, it's on, you can go to drboycebooks.com and get a copy if you want, or also it's on Amazon and Audible. I wrote this book when I was on the faculty at Syracuse University. And as part of my research for this book, I studied love and attraction. I said, what is it that makes a person, when they are in love, act like a crackhead? Why is it that when the sex is good, you will destroy everything else? You will risk it. You'll risk it all because you just want that extra orgasm. Like, what is it about this? This relationship crack cocaine that we're getting that makes us just go crazy? Well, there are some interesting chemical processes that happen inside your body, inside your brain, that are designed for reproduction. You can't outsmart God. You can't outsmart Mother Nature. And love and attraction are the most powerful forces in the universe. That's why I tell young people, be careful when you live in a society that tells you to treat sex like it's no big deal. Like you should just lay down with just anybody. I saw a lady, she literally it was a short video where she said, I'm poly AF. Like, I'm poly as fuck. Because she's poly, a lot of kids, young people are poly now. And I'm not judging. Do it. That's cool. Whatever you do you. But she literally laid out a whole chart of all the people that she was sleeping with. It was like 25 people. And she just felt like it was like free love. And I was like, ooh, that's kind of dangerous. That's kind of dangerous because, sex was not just something designed for pleasure. It's also designed ultimately for reproduction. And also there is a deep, deep connection and spiritual transfer. I don't know if it's emotional, spiritual, or both, but there's a connection you form with these people. And it's not just a connection in terms of romantic love and attraction. It's a connection in the sense that that person now has something on you. For the rest of their life, ask Diddy or ask any man who has a whole trail of women that he slept with or men. Ask them. That person now that you slept with 25 years ago can now go and tell a story. Like, I slept with that person in 2002 and his penis was small. Or I slept with her way back in the day and she ain't nothing but a hoe. Right. And then you're like, oh, man, I'm a grandfather now. How do I explain this to my kids? Right. So really, ultimately, I really think as a community, and give me a yes if you're following this logic, I believe that those of you who are smart, those of us who are smart, will take a moment to at least reflect on the significance of sex, love, and connection. It means something. It doesn't mean you got to get married. It doesn't mean that you should be a prude. It doesn't mean that you're a hoe if you're sleeping around. I'm not saying any of that. I'm saying every time you lay down with somebody, mark my words, especially young people listening, every time you lay down with somebody, you're giving them power. You're giving them some type of power and you're putting something at risk, starting with your mind, your body, and your soul. And it might even be your career. And this takes us back to Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. So apparently, the whole shebang, what's got the Republicans kind of excited now is that Fani Willis was having this relationship with this guy Nathan Wade, and apparently Nathan is an attorney. I'm going to assume he's qualified. I'm not assuming that he's unqualified because he hired her, but they're taking what might be a legitimate relationship and a deep connection between two people who obviously work very, very hard. They probably form some sort of connection that leads to them being lovers. And they're taking this and they're making it into a soap opera. They're getting into how much money she paid him. And they're saying she paid him all this money and he spent the money on lavish vacations that they took together so they could go and do the Oochie Coochie in other countries, right? And so here's the thing that's interesting. When I process this, I want to ask y'all this question. This is an interesting question, that just a thought experiment. What if Fani Willis was a man? And what if Nathan Wade wasn't a black man, but he was like some cute little thing that Fani hired? Let's say Fani, instead of calling her Fani, let's switch her gender. Let's do a quick experiment. What if Fani wasn't Fani? What if Fani was a man? So let's call her Manny, right? Manny. And Nathan, let's say Nathan Wade was not a man. Let's say Nathan was a woman. Let's call her Sanaya Lathan, which rhymes with Nathan, right? So Sanaya Lathan is hired by Manny, who is the lead attorney of a man, and he's paying her money while they getting it in. How do you think? Do you think that there would be a difference in how the media discusses this story? Do you think that there'd be a difference in the way Fani's behavior is being construed by media if Fani were a man? If she were a dude and a woman working for her was sleeping with her, and also Fani, aka Manny, was working on one of the most important court cases in the country. I think it would be. I really do. I think that if Fani Willis were a man, they would be labeling her to be a predator. They would literally describe her behavior as predatory. They would look at it as a hardworking single woman who probably gave up family and love and relationships so she could be the best lawyer she could be. Who just wanted some affection. They wouldn't see it that way. They wouldn't see it as some hardworking, hard-ass prosecutor who probably needed a hug, in a little bit of something in addition to a hug. They don't see it like that. They would see it as predatory behavior. And so what I would say is, what I see with Fani Willis, I don't know this lady, but I'm guessing. I know I think she got married in 96, got divorced in 2005. So the lady hasn't had a husband in 19 years. And I'm willing to bet that she spent long hours in the office. And I know, because I honestly, I'm a stereotype for a minute, because I know black people and black women very well, especially educated, intelligent black women, right? People that have PhDs like me and master's degrees and all that. And one thing that y'all black women are trained to do, unfortunately, by a lot of your parents, is you're trained to commit everything to your career. And as a result, we start to believe things that are not true, like that 40 is the new 30 and so stuff like that. So you have a lot of very single 40-something, even 50-something year old women who are extremely successful in their careers, but don't have that other stuff, the husband and the kids and all that. I'm not judging it, but that's what you're seeing. There are millions and millions and millions of highly educated, professional, single black women. I saw this personally when I was a single man in my 40s. I could not beat them off with a stick. There was a new woman around every corner. And black women, y'all look good well into your 40s and your 50s. Fani still looks great. She looks like a pretty lady. And it became too much. It was too overwhelming. There's too many of y'all. I don't know what the answer is. But it was crazy. So my point is to say that in this situation, I think that that lack of discipline, that decision to sleep together and then sneak him into the case and pay him money when you're in a high profile situation like this, I think that was extremely risky. I think it's extremely unstrategic. I mean, maybe the better approach might have been to not hire him. Just, do something else. Just say, okay, you know what? I'm going to keep you over there because, but maybe the temptation is I bring you in closer. I'm hooking you up. You're making hundreds of thousands of dollars. And also we can get some after we spend long nights in the office working on this case where we're both working together to take down Donald Trump. I'm not hating on it. It's an interesting master plan if that was the case, but it's also one that's now led to messiness. And the Trump team is eating it up. They're eating it up. And I think it also feeds into this unfortunate narrative of black people being unqualified and undisciplined, which we know that that's a bunch of nonsense, right? But that's what they like to say. And this is what you have. So anyway, I'm gonna make a couple more points. If you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. And that book, Financial Lovemaking, you can get a copy at drboycebooks.com. Also, we have financial flashcards for kids and financial workbooks for children if you want to teach wealth to your kids. In my new book, it's an Amazon bestseller. It's called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. So if you'd like to go take a look at that, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. Now, one other thing I want to hit on with this whole case is the sort of angle to, when you're talking about this sort of racial issue, right? I personally think that, and tell me if you agree, but I think I don't like the fact that in these Trump prosecutions, has anybody else noticed that they tend to pick black people as the mascots for all these anti-Trump cases? Anybody else notice that? Anybody else notice that that out of all the lawyers they can pick, all the prosecutors, they're always picking a black person? So I think about Fani, I think about the brother up in New York, Alvin Bragg. Alvin Bragg he's the Trump guy for New York. And they've got his face plastered out there, and of course the Republicans throw rocks at him too. Unqualified Negro prosecuting us or whatever, right? And we know that's not true. I assume he had to work very, very hard to become the mascot for the Democratic Party. You don't get that by being a lightweight. He probably went to some fancy school somewhere, hung out with a bunch of white liberals, and began to somehow falsely believe that white people are our allies, even though the Democratic Party has done absolutely nothing to help the black community in the last 20 or 30 years. But then again, I'm not trying to be a hater here. I'm just trying to be honest. And if you disagree with me, you think that I'm crazy, you think I'm making things up, then I challenge you to bring facts and information to me, not just feelings, but bring some proof and data to show me that black people have benefited from our consistent, undying loyalty to the Democratic Party. Can somebody please give me some evidence that the black community has benefited from being up the ass crack of the Democratic Party for the last X number of years? Can you show me? Are our kids getting a better education? Has our wealth gone up, or has black wealth gone down? Are our families more stable than they were before? Or are our families just a complete mess? Are our communities safer than they were before? Or are black children dying every day and being completely ignored? Over 1,000 kids, by the way, in Ohio alone, 1,000 black children have disappeared in the last 6 months, and y'all ain't said shit about it. Y'all ain't said nothing about it. Y'all don't care. Because they didn't give you a piece of red meat like a George Floyd case that they mass market just to get votes in an election. They didn't mass market red meat to get you all excited. And, oh, I'm so sad for George Floyd. But then I come to you and I tell you, 3 little black girls got gunned down in Chicago, and y'all don't even care. But you will wail over George Floyd case because you wail on demand. You cry on demand. When they tell you to be sad, you get sad. When they tell you that you have permission to care, you suddenly start to care. And I'm gonna tell you what they also do. And Bragg is one of the mascots. They used to do this. They always use fear to get you to vote in every election. That's what they do. The fear is coming. The fear is coming. It always comes down to, no, shut up. Stop asking for stuff. Stop asking for stuff. You need to stop asking for stuff and you need to vote because we got to keep the Republicans out of office because we can't survive it. We won't survive it, y'all. I'm black. I've survived all of the mass incarceration. I survived the war on drugs where the CIA put crack cocaine in my community. My people survived the Middle Passage where half the passengers died. We survived 250 years of the most brutal slavery in the history of mankind. We survived 100 years of Jim Crow. I can survive Donald Trump. I can survive all of that. I can survive Joe Biden. Stop that. Stop with the fear mongering. I hate that. That drives me crazy because you're assuming black people don't understand how to fight a war. You're assuming that we don't have the ability to survive and fight for what we want, as opposed to simply submitting to whatever you want. So when I look at Alvin Bragg, I'm going to be honest with you. Alvin Bragg and Fani Willis two very qualified attorneys who went to great universities, I see a goddamn waste. I see a complete waste of talent. Alvin Bragg went to Harvard University, y'all. He went to Harvard, which used to be one of the top institutions on the planet, which used to be the place where you sent your smart children. It used to be the place where they produced the best and the brightest. That ain't true no more. That ain't true no more. Harvard's a mess right now. Look at what they did to the black president at Harvard. Look at what they did to the black lawyers, the lawyer couple when one of the lawyers was hired to represent Harvey Weinstein. The white kids went crazy and got him fired. Look, Harvard's not a great institution anymore, but it's still a pretty good place to learn law. So here you have a guy, and I'm not here to diss this guy, but this man got a degree from Harvard University. You could be using that degree to fight for your people. You could be using that degree to help elevate the condition of your people. You could be using all those credentials to benefit your own community, but instead, you've allowed yourself to become a mascot for the Democratic Party. You're no different from like the guy that puts on a suit to be the mascot of the Buffalo Bills or the Washington Huskies. Like if you or Ohio State Buckeyes. I'm an Ohio State Buckeye. And that's where I got my PhD. And the Buckeye mascot is this guy that puts on this suit, and he's like this real big lovable character that ends up sort of dancing and singing at the games and cheering on the team and everything else. And everyone is excited about the mascot. The mascot is cool, but the mascot doesn't matter. No touchdown has ever been scored by the mascot. All the mascot does is sit back and watches the athletes play, and then the mascot jumps up and down and does cartwheels when the team scores a touchdown. The mascot leads the crowd in a cheer while the real players are out there playing the game. So instead of black people being real players in our own liberation, this is my point. Instead of us being real players and playmakers in our own lives, we allow ourselves to be used as mascots. We become a mascot for the Democratic Party. We become mascots for the Republican Party. And that's what we do. Because why? Well, because we love working for white folks. One thing we hate is working for black folks. We hate working for ourselves. We hate working for each other. But instead, we're always happy to be the mascot. That's what we do. So when I see the Alvin Braggs of the world and the Fani Willises, I ask myself this question. I say, do you mean they can't find no white people to do this job? Like what in the world does your black ass get by sending a former president to prison? What does your black ass get if you were on the Republican side and you're going after Joe Biden? Like, what do you get? I say this to my Republican and my Democratic Party friends. The black community does not benefit at all, in my view, when these people are out here putting their lives on the line to go get involved in this Democrat-Republican nonsense. A successful prosecution of Donald Trump will do nothing to improve the condition of the black community. All it will do is give us a different sort of pimp. We'll just have a different pimp. It'll be just new white folks in charge. That's what it's going to be. And the reason I know this is because if you look in history and you look at all the times the Democrats have been running districts, go look at some of these districts. I mean, I'm just being honest with you. Go look at some of these districts that Democrats have run for 20 or 30 or 40 years. They're a damn mess. They are an absolute mess. So I'm not a fan of any of it. I kind of feel like Alvin Bragg is being used. I feel like Fani Willis is being used. And part of the reason that we're excited about being used is that, you know, I get it, right? We go to these fancy white schools. We go to, like, Fani went to Emory and Alvin went to Harvard. So you say, look, mama, I made it. Look at white people and let me into Emory. White folks let me into Harvard. And then you start adopting their causes. And then you're happy when they accept you. You're happy that they brought you into the fold. And next thing you know, you get used to this. Like, they're like, hey, we need somebody to do a job that no one else will want to do. And we need to use your race. We're not going to help you with your struggle. We're not going to help you with your people's condition. We're not going to make put your people in a better spot. But what we will do is we will gladly use the struggle of your people as a way for us to prove our point, right? And that's what they do. So they're like, okay, we're gonna get a black woman to prosecute Donald Trump because that'll make him look like a racist. He's got to be a racist because a black woman's prosecuting him. We're gonna get him, y'all. We're gonna get him, y'all. We're gonna get Trump out of office, y'all. That's what we're gonna do, y'all. We gonna get okay. And then next thing you know, they got you out here looking crazy. They got you out here getting death threats. They got you out here with half the world hating your guts because you got involved with their gang affiliation. They involved in some red, blue, Crip blood gangster shit, and they got you thrown in the middle like the mascot that you've chosen to become. And then they bust you. They say, oh, you know what? By the way, she's fucking the guy she's working with, and he's fucking her while he's married to another lady, and she gave him money. So you know what? Not only does that prove that black people are unqualified for the job, it also proves that black people are sexually undisciplined. It also proves that maybe you are the actual criminal in this situation because maybe you were the one who was in violation of federal law because you were giving this man money and while you were receiving penis, and now you looking all crazy. Now your whole personal life, because this politics stuff is messy. It's messy. It's messy as hell. Ain't nothing wrong with those two black people getting together and deciding to do what lovers do. I'm not judging that at all. There's nothing wrong with that. What I am talking about is now your life done got a hell of a lot more complicated because you done allowed these folks to use you as their pawn. That's why you will never see Dr. Boyce Watkins getting involved in representing the Democrat or Republican parties. I'm not doing it because you're going to mess my shit up because over your stuff. And then when they get done using these Negroes, they always throw them out. They hang them out to dry. They throw them out like yesterday's garbage. Has anybody seen what they're doing with Eric Adams up in New York City, the mayor of New York? When he spoke up on the immigrant thing, next thing you know, they're raiding his house. Now they got this man reduced to a criminal, like he's fighting criminal charges because he chose to get involved in this stuff when you could have easily, Fani and Bragg, you could have easily chosen to take up more righteous causes for your community. You could have become one of these attorneys that's fighting night and day to get all these millions of black people out of prison. You could have been fighting like crazy to get us our reparations like Johnny Cochran was going to do before they killed him or before he died, whichever one happened. You never really know these days. You could have been out here using all this vast legal skill to be engaged in something that leads to some sort of significant and meaningful, productive outcome for the black community. But instead, you wasting your time on this stupid Donald Trump stuff. If somebody's going to go after Trump, let them do it. That's their job. You go because to the victor goes the spoils. So you're going to be the victor and they're going to get the spoils. Your community ain't going to get nothing. The black community, I stand on this point, and I'm sorry if you disagree. I'm not telling you to be a Democrat or Republican. I've told you all. Give me a yes if you understand. I'm not telling you who to vote for. I am not at all telling you who to vote for. But you cannot prove to me how the prosecution of Donald Trump is going to lead to a significant impact in the condition of black people in this country. It's just not. It's not. But I'll tell you what does lead to an impact on the black community. It's those black lawyers that are out here educating black kids. That leads to an impact. You got 50, 100 kids in front of you every 3 days a week, and you're teaching them law, and you're teaching them how to protect their rights, and you're teaching them how to navigate through the world. That has an impact. You know what else has an impact on the black community? The black men and women who are raising intelligent, healthy black children. That has an impact on the black community. You know what else has an impact on the black community? When we're talking every single morning about economic strategies to improve your economic condition for your family for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 generations. That's what we do every morning. That's what I'm doing with my PhD. You know what else helps the black community? If these lawyers all get together, all these Harvard-educated lawyers begging for jobs for the Democratic Party were to get together and form a coalition that says we are a coalition of black attorneys that's going to work night and day to get all of our brothers and sisters out of prison because many of them are political prisoners because there ain't no way a guy should be locked up on a dope charge from 1997 and still be in prison in 2024. That has an impact because then you're bringing a black father home to his little girl. You're bringing a black mother home to her son. You're bringing families back together. That's what has an impact on the community. So what I'm saying to you is this. Look, I'm not judging what this lady's doing. I don't care where she gets her sex. I'm sure she has to get it from somewhere. There's nothing illegal or unethical about sleeping around. Now, you can judge the fact that the guy was married, but it sounds like they had a dead marriage anyway. So again, it is what it is. But when you blend politics, high stakes, high level, messy, ugly, dysfunctional politics into your personal life, I just want to ask you, like, was it worth it? If I was talking to Fani and this brother here, he seems like a good lawyer. He seems like a smart guy. He's carrying a gun now, by the way. I don't know why. They showed him that you know how white folks do. You know how these right wingers do. They had video of him carrying a gun out of his office, right? Maybe he has to. Maybe he's worried. I get it. I understand. But I would probably say to them, I'd be like, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Like, why are you even involved in this? Why are you in the middle? Why are you in here taking shots for these people? Do y'all understand what I'm saying? You understand what I'm saying? Because now they got you looking like a reckless hoe. They do. They got her looking like a reckless hoe. They got her looking like she's unqualified. They got her looking like she's irresponsible, perhaps even criminal. I don't know. I'm sure. And they're doing all this. Why are they doing this? Well, they're doing this because they're trying to get their boy out of jail. They're trying to get Trump out of his stuff. And here's the thing, and I want to make it clear so everyone understands. We know how crooked Trump is. Those of y'all that have been around, I read Trump's book, The Art of the Deal, in 1991. So I'm OG with it. I've been around. I've seen all this stuff. Right. And I'm going to tell you, I knew Trump was a dirtbag in the 90s. Right. I read his book and I knew the guy was, and it is what it is. Right. There's a lot of dirtbags in politics. You go up the Bidens. Look, the Biden son, Joe Biden's son is the biggest crackhead in America. And somehow he was able to escape prosecution. I have no idea how that happened. But then again, I do know, because we know that certain people get favoritism in this country. So again, I would just ask Fani Willis, why all these sacrifices for people who don't look like you, don't like you, don't care nothing about you, and are not going to stand by you? If you really go down over this, if she really goes down, give me a yes if you understand where I'm coming from. I'm not asking you to agree. And I know sometimes I say stuff and it sounds wild and it sounds mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm being honest. But seriously, if the shit really goes down for Fani, like if this really turns out to be some kind of a criminal, I don't know. I don't know the laws, like what you do with money and all that. But if it really comes down to it, and her whole reputation, her whole career, all this stuff ends up going down, they're not going to stand by her. You see, black people will do that, though. We'll stand by somebody who's a criminal or who got caught or whatever. If we love you and we feel like you really did right by us, tell me if you know what I'm talking about. If you really do right by black people your whole career, and then suddenly they hem you up on some nonsense like this, black folks will stand by you. Like, we'll just be like, I don't believe nothing because I know what he did. I know what he did was good, right? We'll do that. They're not going to do that because they have to protect the Democratic Party. They have to protect the Republican Party. They're not going to stand by you and your side penis and your little love situation. But I get it. You hardworking women, y'all hardworking professional women, y'all need love. Y'all need a time to decompress because you're so stressed up and all that energy and anxiety is bottled up. So you got to let it out. And I get it, right? Everybody needs that, right? I understand that, but they're not going to understand that. They're going to say, oh, she was getting messy on the job. She's up here. She can't control herself. She because she ain't got no husband. So she's out here just screwing her employees or whatever. That's how they're going to interpret that. And the thing is that when the right wing writes about it and they do reports on it on Fox News, they're really going to be mean. These people are vicious. These people are vicious. I've seen some of it up close, not all of it, but I saw some of it when I was back at Syracuse University. You can go Google this. When the Fox News people got mad at me, let me tell you my little experience with Fox News. They did the O'Reilly Factor was the '1 show on all the cable news. They did a whole entire show about me. They did back at 07, 08, something like that. Bill O'Reilly, because he was mad at me, they did a whole show. They'd be like, okay, after the commercial break, we're going to come back with another guest who's going to talk crazy about this black man at Syracuse University. They went in. They ambushed our chancellor when she was on campus. They painted me as some crazy radical, like I was damn near like a terrorist. Like they go in. They go hard. So they're going to dig up every piece of dirt that they can find on this poor lady. They're going to go to every man she might have slept with. They're gonna look at her credit score. They're gonna be messy with it, and I kind of just feel like if you're gonna go in the fire like that, go in the fire for something that means something. You know, getting Joe Biden elected to me is not a win for the black community. Honestly, it's not to say it doesn't matter. You can vote for who you want, but you know, I just that's not the what they call the sword I'd want to die on. Like, you know, because believe me, they just starting, they just warming up because they trying to keep their boy out of jail. This is their opening. They're going to go extra hard. It's going to be extra messy and extra embarrassing. And my heart really goes out to Fani. I feel very bad for her because I don't think that what she did was that bad. So anyway, that's my 2 cents. I'm sticking to it. I'm done talking. By the way, if you want to get a copy of my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power, you can go to drboycebooks.com. And you guys know we talk about love and money and wealth and everything else on this platform. So if you'd like to receive stocks and investments that I believe in, that I'm invested in, I can text that to you. Just text the word stock to 87948. Text stock to 87948 in the Black Business School. We can text you our $5 a day wealth building plan. We can text you a training I did on how to make money without working. I'll text you a list of AI stocks that I believe if you invest in these stocks, I think you're going to have a good shot at having a great future financially. We're here to help you. We want to make real substantive change in the community. We're not doing everything perfectly, but we are doing our best, and we're not going to stop. We're going to be very consistent. So God bless you. Have a great day. Thank you so much for listening. Please hit that thumbs up button on your way out. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. This podcast is on Spotify. I want to remind you that. So please look up my name, Boyce Watkins, on Spotify. You can find it there. Have a good day. God bless. See you soon. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.